yogis, welcome. Let's start today's flow seated on our heels if that's comfortable. Close your eyes, tuck your chin slightly, and start to bring awareness to your breath. Let's try to make each inhale and exhale deeper than the last. With the next exhale, let's firm up at the root lock, Mula Bandha. Inhale deeply. And then at the bottom of the next exhale, let's find Uddiyana Bandha, the belly lock. Inhale. And with this next exhale, let's find Jalantara Bandha, the chin lock, activating our Ujjayi breath. With these three locks working together, we can harness the power of breath to use it as fuel and even direct it to specific parts of the body where it's needed most for expansion and healing. Now let's open our eyes and sweep arms overhead. Then draw prayer hands to your heart and bow over hands to seal an intention for today's flow. When you're ready, release hands to your thighs. And let's inhale to spill the heart forward, drawing shoulder blades together. Exhale to lean back and pull them apart. Again, inhale to lean forward, maybe gazing upwards. Exhale to lean back, tucking the tail and emptying the belly. Inhale forward, arching the spine, and exhale back to round it. One last time, inhale to open the front body, and exhale to expand through the back body. We'll come to a neutral spine and dive forward into child's pose, sinking hips to heels, arms stretching actively forward. Release your head to the mat. Now we'll walk both arms over to the right, just by about a foot at first, breathing into the side ribs. Now walk them a little further to the right. Your torso might lift up a few inches, and that's totally fine. We'll keep going and morph this into an upright side stretch, reaching across the ear line with the left arm. And finally, we'll plant the right hand a few inches behind the hip and cradle the head in the left hand. Spin your heart up to the sky here. We'll release back to child's pose and repeat this sequence on the left side. First, walking the hands over just by about 10 or 12 inches for a full breath cycle. Then walk hands a little further to the left side, still letting your head hang heavy. Now we'll rise up for a side stretch with the right arm reaching across the ear line. And finally, let's bring the left hand a little further back. Cradle your head in the right palm and spin your heart up, breathing deeply. We'll come back to child's pose now. Take a moment to gather your breath. Then we'll tuck toes and send hips high for downward facing dog. Push into the mat firmly with both hands and start to pedal out the legs. Now we'll bend really deeply into the right knee, so deeply that we can pivot into a side plank from here, maybe with the right knee drawn up and towards the chest. Now we'll lower the left hand to the mat and come back to your downward dog, grounding both feet. And sweep the right leg high behind you. Stack that hip and bend the knee, maybe squeezing the right heel towards the glute. Now we'll lower the right foot to the mat and start to pedal out the legs again, building some heat in the hamstrings. Bend the left leg deeply now, drawing belly to thigh, and let this shift gradually into a side plank, possibly with the left knee lifted towards your chest. One big expansive inhale, and exhale to ground the right palm. And we'll come back for downward facing dog, centering the hips. Sweep the left leg high, stack that hip and bend the knee, still pushing the ground away with both hands. Now we can lower the left foot back to the mat and shift forward into a high plank. Exhale to lower through chaturanga or all the way down to the mat. Inhale to send your heart forward in cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale to roll over toes, coming back to downward facing dog. Right away, we'll sweep the right leg high again, and then draw this knee forward to step into a lunge. Get steady in your footing here, and we'll rise up for a high lunge, inhaling to send both arms high. Then exhale to lean forward for a modified humble warrior with airplane arms. Inhale to rise back up, stretching arms overhead. Exhale to lower your chest, squaring shoulders to the top of the mat. Once more, inhale to high lunge, and exhale to humble warrior. Let's inhale to rise up and maybe add a little back bend to our high lunge. Then ground the right heel and open the arms up wide for warrior two, gazing over right fingertips. Keep the right knee stacked right over the right ankle and push the outer edge of the left foot into the mat. From here, we're going to launch right into half moon pose. Right hand reaches for the floor or a block just under the right shoulder. Flex the left foot and keep that leg parallel to the ground or higher. If your balance feels steady, send your gaze up towards the left hand. Now we'll lower both hands to the mat and square your whole body to the mat as well, the left leg still lifted. We'll do 4 jiva squats here, bending the left knee and sending it behind the right as the legs bend. Option 2, keep the hands on the mat or bring your hands to heart center for a little more of a balance challenge. Now release the left foot back to the mat. Let's take an easy forward fold here, maybe with wide legs or ragdoll arms. Empty the belly completely. Now we'll root to rise, inhaling yourself up tall, and exhale, hands to your heart. Again, inhale to sweep the arms up. Exhale to hinge at hips, folding. Inhale to lift halfway. And exhale to step the right foot back. Inhale, left foot back for high plank. Exhale through chaturanga. Inhale to upward dog or cobra. And exhale back for downward facing dog. Now let's repeat that, sweeping the left leg high. And we'll step that foot through to land in a lunge. Inhaling as we rise up. We'll exhale to lower to humble warrior, energized all the way through fingertips. Inhale to rise, stretching arms overhead. Exhale to lower. Once more, inhale to high lunge. And exhale to humble warrior. And we'll inhale back to high lunge, really opening up the chest, maybe back bending. And exhale to spread the arms wide for warrior two. Tuck the tailbone slightly and drop shoulders down away from your ears. Breathe here, finding those 3 Bandha locks again. The root, the belly, and the chin. We'll try to maintain that Bandha engagement as we launch into half moon pose. You might actually find it's easier to maintain your balance here if you focus on those locks in the core and avoid pouring too much weight into the left hand. You might come up to fingertips or remove that hand from the ground entirely. Now we'll lower the right hand to the mat, squaring hips and shoulders to the mat, and take 4 Jiva squats. Option 2, bring hands to your heart and challenge your balance. And again, Bandha engagement will really help you there. After 4 squats, we'll lower the right foot and take a forward fold, squeezing the belly at the bottom of the exhale. Now inhale to stand all the way up, filling the lungs as you reach overhead, and exhale, hands to your heart. Again, inhale, arms up, exhale to fold forward, inhale to flatten the back, and exhale to step both feet back for a high plank. Exhale through chaturanga, inhale to a heart opener, and exhale back to your downward facing dog. Now let's lower the knees to the mat and sink hips back for child's pose, just for a couple of cleansing breaths. When you're ready, we can rise up high on the knees, preparing for a camel series. First, we'll place both hands on the sacrum and manually tuck the tailbone, pushing the hips forward. And before camel, we'll flirt with thunderbolt, trying to keep a straight line from the knee to the shoulders as we lean back and rise up. Do this a couple more times. We're not trying to backbend here. We're really just trying to engage through the core and the quads to support our weight. Now we'll move into camel pose. Get yourself centered first. Option to tuck your toes if you like. We'll release both hands back to the heels and keep pushing the hips forward as you open your heart up to the sky. If it feels safe, you can release your head back, but it's also fine to gaze up instead of behind you. Keep the neck in a straight line with the upper spine. Now let's rise up slowly. It's common to feel a little lightheaded here, so feel free to pause and rest if you need some time to regroup. Otherwise, we'll move to sit on the mat and find shoelace pose, grounding through the sits bones, crossing right leg over left. We'll stack the knees as best as we can and send the feet wide. You might stay upright here or exhale to fold forward and deepen the stretch. Either way, just keep sending breath to the outer hips. Now we'll inhale to sit back up and keep the left leg right where it is. We'll interlace fingers or wrap a strap around the sole of the right foot and straighten that leg out for a heron pose. Work on drawing the shoulders down and back while keeping the chest lifted. Now for revolved heron, let's grab the outer edge of right foot with the left hand, kick the foot towards the top of the mat, twist to the right, and reach long through the right arm. Look behind you if it feels safe. Now let's release and switch the crossing of our legs to take shoelace again. Root your seat to the mat and stack the knees, sending feet wide. You can stay upright here or fold over the knees for a deeper stretch. Whatever you choose, keep the breath long and steady. Let it guide you through the discomfort. Inhale to rise up and lace fingers or a strap around the left foot, straightening the leg for heron pose. Flex that foot and gaze up at your toes to keep your chest lifted. Now let's switch our grip for revolved heron, grabbing the outer edge of left foot with right hand. If you twist from the low core, it will help you to keep your shoulders and chest wide open here. Gaze can follow the left hand back if it feels steady. Release, and we'll get ready to recline and start cooling down. Hug your knees to outer ribs and rock side to side. Then we'll draw 3 big circles with the knees, letting the arms do the work while the legs stay passive. Switch direction for 3 more big circles. Now we'll roll onto the left side in a fetal position, and then open the arms wide like a book for a gentle twist. Option 2, pin the knees down with the left hand. Send your gaze to the right and start to release breath control. Now let's switch sides, rolling to the right side in a fetal position. Open the arms wide like opening a book. Pin both shoulders to the mat for this twist. Option 2, pin the knees down with the right hand, but you don't have to take it there if you don't want to. Gentle twists can be just as restorative and healing as deep twists. Let's draw knees to the center now and plant both feet by your sits bones. We'll squeeze the glutes and lift the hips up for bridge pose, maybe reaching for the ankles. You can also always interlace the hands below the seat and draw shoulders together. Either way, grip the mat with all 10 toes to engage the hamstrings. Exhale to release. Now we'll drape knees left and right like windshield wipers, just working out any kinks that might be remaining in the low back. We'll draw knees in close again and reach for the feet or ankles to take happy baby, rocking side to side to massage the lumbar spine. Tap into some playful energy in this pose. We'll release and finish up by sending feet overhead for plow pose, aiming to point the sits bones straight up if possible. And we'll roll out of this really slowly and with control, laying one vertebra on the mat at a time, hugging the legs in close to the torso while we do so. And once the sacrum touches down, we'll release the legs to the mat on a count of 8. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Release and spread feet as wide as the mat. You can flip the palms up for Shavasana, closing your eyes, slowing your breath. This meditative rest is an essential part of any yoga practice, no matter how long or short your time on the mat may be. Let's give ourselves a chance to absorb whatever we've learned on the mat today. Meanwhile, we can give ourselves permission to let go of all the rest. To reawaken, let's start with small movements in the hands and feet, gradually sending some energy back into the larger muscle groups. And stretch both arms overhead and draw feet together, growing long. And curl up and roll to one side. And take your time rising up to find a comfortable seat. We'll close our practice with a moment of reflection and gratitude. Draw hands into your heart and bow your head to give thanks for this body, this breath, and this present moment. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, Yogi. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe to the channel, click the little bell to be notified when new videos are released. I'll see you next time. Be good to yourself.